What's up, young bucks? It's Adam. I'm going to give you a bit of an insight into how we designed the final boss for our game. To start, we knew we wanted something different from how other games do bosses. We felt Slay the Spire having 3 possible bosses felt like it could get repetitive after a while, so we looked further at other games like Wild Frost. Wild Frost had a unique final boss each time based on your previous run, which is a really novel and cool idea, but a lot of people had an issue with it in that it felt like they were getting punished for having a strong run previously. So to summarize, we wanted something that was unique each time you played, that didn't punish the player for having a strong build, and something that allowed for more strategic choices. One of our early designs that we ultimately ended up scraping was a boss that had 3 forms with a secret 4th form. It changed based on the amount of card colors you have in your deck. So for example, if your deck was mostly red cards, it might turn into an aggressive dragon, or if it was mostly green cards, it might turn into a defensive turtle, and so on. It was a really cool idea as it was still predictable and dynamic, but maybe you saw the issue from the beginning. There was still really only 4 possible boss types, which could get old pretty fast. We ended up weakening this enemy and moving this enemy to be one of the later enemies in the stage that could show up instead of it just being the final boss. Hopefully that gives you a little look into how we prototype, but let me fast forward to our current boss design. Right now, after every other fight against an enemy, you get a choice between 2 options. Each option has a charm that you equip to cards that will make you stronger, but each option also has a mutation for that boss. This means that you build the boss you fight as the run progresses. It means there are thousands of possible unique bosses for you to fight, but at the same time, it's still predictable, so you can build your deck around it as the run goes on. And it doesn't punish you for having a strong build. But let's go into more detail about what a mutation might look like. There are 3 types of mutations: passives, health, or actions. Passives means the boss will have that passive effect added for the fight. Health just means more health, but actions are where it gets really interesting. All our enemies in Drawstring Dungeon have an action pool that they pick mostly randomly from. But a big issue we're having with our boss is that you could build the action pool up so high that you never actually see half the things you add to it. This means the boss doesn't actually get harder. To fix this, we first capped the amount of actions you could add to 10, which would be difficult to even get to, but just in case scenario. Next, we created a new intention system for the boss, one that actually takes inspiration from a board game we worked on in the past. The boss has a sequence of moves that it goes through. This means that you can see what move will be used and when during the fight, which helps you plan even more, but the trade-off is something called chaining. Chaining just means that some of the intentions the boss can trigger also triggers the next intention in the sequence, and if that is a chain, it can continue, and so on. This means you have to be extra careful when choosing mutations for the boss, as you might end up creating a long chain of intentions that the boss can one-shot you with. But that's a lot of info all at once, so let's recap real quick the key points. A boss that you build during the run that you could plan around, a unique intention sequence instead of randomly picking, and chaining, or a combo system for the boss. Next, we had to plan a theme for the boss, something that evolved with you and had somewhat similar mechanics to you. This led us to the rival, someone else in the game who's also either trying to get out of the bag or trying to keep you in there. Its motives are unknown. We also felt it added a reason why its intentions are different and can combo, just like how you could combo. Now going back to the mutation screen, we didn't want it to feel too bad having to make the game harder, and we also wanted the decisions to be trickier, and this is where pairing the charms and the mutations comes in. Does the charm benefit outweigh a really strong passive for the boss? Or maybe you'd rather take a weaker charm to skip a mutation that counters your deck. These tricky decisions are what make games really interesting. One other big design decision we made was splitting the boss into a checkpoint and final boss. The checkpoint is a weaker version with less health, easier starting intentions, and has been mutated less, but it's a forced halfway point that also gives you a checkpoint, meaning you're guaranteed you won't have to go back to the beginning of the map after extracting if you make it here. It also gives you a sneak peek as to what's in store for you at the end of the game and lets you almost demo it to see how you could tweak your deck more before the final boss. And lastly, while it's not the focus of this video, I wanted to touch on some of the really cool visuals Sawyer cooked up for the rival, specifically the mutation screen. Check out the shader he made for the background, or the cool flipping effects for when you choose a mutation. To end off the video, make sure to wishlist the Drawstring Dungeon on Steam now, and if you have any feedback you'd like to give, make sure to leave it in the comments or join our Discord through the description of this video. Thanks for watching.